Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you for tuning in. Please be sure to like my video and subscribe so that I'll be encouraged to make more videos like this. So today I just want to quickly show you how to make a half body scale for a baby girl of between the age of 1 year to 1 year and a half. You can obviously adapt this to your own baby's measurements, but this is what I use for my baby girl. So the first thing I'm doing here is dividing the pattern paper that I have laid out into two. What I'm dividing it into two is that I want to draw the front and the back bodies together. So by dividing it into two, the pattern paper will clearly show where the front and back is. So just dividing it into two like that with a straight line. So after I do this now, I'm now going to work on the front part of the bodice first. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to measure half of my baby's shoulder measurement. But before I proceed, I first of all measure from the shoulder to where the half length is. Now half length is 8 inches, and to that 8 inches I'm going to add 1 inch, so it's going to be 9 inches, and I'm just going to put that 9 inches line all across the paper to just indicate where the half length is. Remember, 8 inches is what I'm using for the half length, but I'm adding 1 inch for swing allowance, as you clearly see. So now after doing this, I'm going to now proceed to start putting the measurements. First, for the front, I'm going to measure half of the shoulder measurement. A shoulder measurement I'm using is 9 inches. Half of that is 4.5. I'll measure it there, and from that place I indicated 4.5, I'll go down by half an inch. Half an inch is going to be for the shoulder slope, and then I'll just draw a stencil line across that shoulder line, as you see me do like that. And just like that, I've created the shoulder slant. So after creating the shoulder slant, now come down by 4.5 for the armhole angle, and then that is where I'm going to draw the armhole angle. So just check your measurements on either side and then just create the armhole angle like that. So I've created the armhole angle now. Next thing I'm going to do is to put quarter of my baby's measurements. Quarter of the chest measurement and quarter of the waist measurement is going to be 5.5. Usually the chest and the waist of a baby is usually the same thing. So to that 5.5, I'm just going to add 1 inch for swing allowance. Please make sure you don't add more than 1.5 inch or 2 inches for swing allowance for a baby's clothes, because it's too much allowance is not really needed. So after doing this now, I'm going to create the armhole curve. To create the armhole curve, I'll determine half of that shoulder angle, and then I'll come out by 0.25, or what some people call 0.25 or 0.2. And just as you see me, first of all with a straight line, a stencil line I'll join, and then I'll come in with my curved ruler and just curve it to where the measurement stops. Remember that this part I'm doing is the front bodice. Just clearly indicating where the normal measurement stops from the allowance. So here for that center, I'm indicating that is a fold, so that when I'm using this pattern to cut out the clothes, I don't make any mistake of cutting. Now for the neck width, I'm going to use 2 inches, and for the neck depth, I'm going to use 2.5 inches. You don't want to go down too much than that 2.25 inches, 2.25 inches, because it will open up the chest. So just 2 by 2.25 inches is enough. You can, for the shoulder width, you can even go by 2.5. Or as far as 3 if you are trying to make a boat neckline. Now I'll go to where the half length is, and then on that place that is half length, first of all indicating the allowance, I'm going to come up by half an inch. What I'm doing this is that I'm trying to contour the waistline so that it fits properly, because the children's bodice block doesn't usually have allowance. So it's these little things that we do that we use to contour. So just come up by half an inch from the allowance line for the half length, and then just use a slant line to draw it to the waist, and just like that you are done. Now for the back, the first thing I'm going to do is to measure 1.5 inch from that line that I used to separate the front from the back, so that I can use that side for my allowance. Obviously I'm not going to use 1.5 inch for my allowance, but I just created that so that I have more than enough for it. Just angling my camera very well now for you to see how I'm doing it. So after measuring that 1.5 from the dividing line, all my measurements is going to start from where the line is. So the first thing I'm doing here is to indicate the half of the shoulder line, create my shoulder slants just like I did for the front. So basically almost everything I'm doing for the front, I'm doing for the back. Then measure the armhole angle. After measuring the armhole angle, just joining it. So this explanation is already there for the front, so it will be easy for you to do this time around. And now from that dividing line of where the zip allowance is, I'm going to take a quarter of my baby's chest measurement plus the 1 inch, so 5.5 plus 1 inch on the chest line, and then on the waistline, and then I'll just join it. So here I'm going to create the armhole curve by determining half of the armhole. Then when I determine half of the armhole, you see that here I'm not coming in by 0.25 because the back armhole is more shallow than the front armhole. So I just quickly cut out the front bodice. It's not showing where the camera is, but if you already followed up my instructions on how to draw it, cutting it out is not going to be difficult. You just simply follow all the line that you've either used pencil for on the pattern paper, or you can even draw this directly on the fabric and just chalk it out and cut it. Just cutting out everything so that I'm going to use my front bodice for reference for the back. So now remember that I went up by half an inch from that waist area. So the same thing here, I'm going to do it for the back area. I'm going to go up by half an inch and then just use slanting line to join it towards the middle of the back. But then before I do that, I'm just indicating the proper line for the allowance. And you can see same thing I did for the front, just to make the body's contour better to the body, seeing as you're not going to be putting a dart because it's a baby's bodice. Now for the neck width, I'm just using same 2 inches, and then I'm using 1.5 inches for the how deep the neckline is going to be, for the depth of the neckline. So you can use 1 inch, but 1.5 inch is okay. And then just make sure that you have it to a straight line to where the zip allowance is. Now I can indicate the zip allowance. I'm using 1 inch for the zip allowance, just 1 inch with a straight line from where the neckline is down to the waist. And you can see that my slanting line is stopped just before where the zip allowance is. The slanting line from the side of the waist is not going to enter the zip allowance. And then I'm just cutting it out so that you have a good view of what I'm doing. So this is very very easy to do, and you don't necessarily have to use a pattern paper. You can draw it directly on a fabric if you're making, say, a dress or a gown or anything that requires the half and bodice block. And just like that, I'm kind of done with the back of the bodice, and I'm bringing back the front to show you how it looks like. Please make sure you like and my video, and please subscribe to my channel so that you can get and click on the notification bell too, so that you can get notified when I upload a new video. Now I'm not done with the back bodice. I'm going to bring back the back bodice, and around that zip area I'm going to go up by 0.75 from the around the zip area, and then just slant it back to where the allowance by the side is. So going up by 0.75 from the middle of the back, and then slant it towards the waist, and then just cut that off. All of this is just for contouring of the bodice to the body of the person that is wearing. And you see that, make sure that when you are slanting the middle of the back, the zip area for the front, you do it properly. So that's just it. Thank you.